Thank you so much for meeting with us today. So this is MSTI PhD alumni, Dr. Rachel Czar. I really appreciate your time and you meeting with me.
Thanks for meeting with me.
Yeah. So to start, can you just share a little bit about who you are and what your professional life looks like right now?
Sure. I am a licensed marriage and family therapist and an AASECT certified sex therapy supervisor. I am currently the clinical director of a group practice that specializes in relationship and sex therapy in Chicago called Avid Intimacy. And I'm also affiliate faculty in Northwestern University's Master's in Marriage and Family Therapy program, where I teach their sex therapy course.
Wow, you're doing so many things. I
Yeah.
love it. Is there a particular like clientele or like client base that you're typically kind of seeing?
Sure. I really love it's why I love supervising so much because I really see everything under the sex therapy umbrella, but everyone who's coming to me is coming with some sort of sex related concern. An area that I really specialize in because I've worked in a gynecologic center as part of my training is working with AFAB folks around sexual functioning issues. So that will be folks with difficulty with orgasm, low libido, and painful sex, which was the focus of my dissertation project at MSTI.
Yeah, which kind of leads me into thinking about what kind of brought you into considering getting a doctorate. And I know I'm hearing right some of that experience already connecting, but what was it for you that kind of made you want to go get a doctorate?
First of all, one of the things that I love most about this career is that there's always more to learn. And I am a forever student. I just love being in school. I was really missing more of a structure around continuing education. And I knew that getting a doctorate would open up doors for me in terms of publishing my writing, teaching in a master's level program. Um, and I didn't want any doors closed. I wanted all of the opportunities that I could possibly get in this world.
Yeah, I love that. And kind of thinking about that, I know you're wanting all those doors open. Was there anything that you were kind of hesitant about or nervous about in going to get a PhD?
Sure, I was nervous about the time.
Mm-hmm.
But,
Yeah.
by the time that I came to MSTI, I was working two part-time jobs. I was working in private practice and at the hospital,
Mm.
in this center for complex gynecology at Northwestern Medicine, and two part-time jobs is greater than the sum of its parts. I learned that the hard way.
Yep.
So the real question was, how can I get a PhD without burning out? Which is what drew me to MSTI because I know that, and after speaking to Rachel Needle, they really make space for folks who are full-time professionals and they allow you to do it, first of all, at your own pace, um, but also in a
Mm.
way that's conducive to not having to quit your job, which I needed.
Yeah, I'm glad that you were able to manage all of that and the program was able to kind of fit your needs. And I'm hearing
Mhm.
that that's part of what drew you to the program. And I'm curious if there's anything else that drew you to MSTI in particular for your doctorate.
Mm. The big things that drew me to MSTI were the accessibility of it, the time commitment, the people who were teaching courses. I really
Mm.
liked that the courses were more CE style, where you got to hear from a variety of voices from really expert folks in the field. There were a lot of names of teachers that I recognized or had taken courses from in the past. The other thing that really drew me to this program was that I am not a researcher, and I knew that research wasn't one of the reasons that I wanted to pursue a PhD. And MSTI allows for the doctoral project. I knew that I had a book in me. I
Mhm.
just did not have the container in which to actually create it, and that's what this program allowed me to do was to
Mm.
birth my book baby.
Yes, and can I hear a little bit about your book, baby? What was your dissertation about?
Sure. So my dissertation was focused on the lived experience of folks with chronic pelvic pain conditions. So something that I had discovered through my clinical work, through running support groups with folks who have chronic pelvic pain, is just how isolated folks feel. And
Mm.
I really saw that a lot of the books that were out there, a lot of the resources that were out there were very medical, focused a lot in the medical model and in interventions that really just access the physical. And there wasn't enough out there about the psychological, the relational. And it's really been a focus of my clinical work in helping folks talk about their pain, understand their pain, how it shows up in their nervous systems, and how to navigate that relationally. So, what I did was I spoke to about 50 folks who have experienced chronic genitopelvic pain and painful sex, and really answered the question of what is it like to live with these conditions. And the book started off as a book of stories where folks can just see themselves in other folks, really enter into a conversation about chronic genitopelvic pain. And it has since evolved into a text that really covers the psychosocial, the relational aspects that I hope will be something that folks can access alongside their medical care.
Yeah, well, that sounds so important, especially to bring in like a different lens, right? Not just the medical
Hmm.
lens, but all of it combined. And I'm curious for you, how has that kind of shown up in your work now? Like, is
Hmm.
the things you learned through all of those interviews and through the process of writing that book shaped the way that you are functioning now as a clinician?
Hmm. Sure, absolutely. I mean, it's definitely honed my specialty. It's given me the opportunity because I had to, as part of the
Yeah.
project, to really read all of the research that's out there. So I feel really, really strong academically around what's out there clinically. I'm better able to normalize for folks what
Mm.
they're experiencing, to validate for folks that it makes sense that you're feeling this way, you're not alone in feeling this way, and to help me cheerlead my clients and let them know that this is something that there is actually solutions for. There are ways to feel safer in your body and in your sexuality. And the fact that they haven't found it yet is not indicative of any kind of brokenness within them, but more brokenness within the system. And it feels really good to be able to shine a light for these folks and help them find a kind of true healing in their body around their sexuality.
Yes, it's such an important topic, an important group of people that you're working with. And I'm so glad that you
Hmm.
were able to kind of take that and use that now and find a way to make that also your specialty. It's really amazing.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. And I've met the most incredible people through the creation of this project and through my clients, of
Yeah.
course, and their vulnerability with me.
Mm. Kind of pivoting us a little bit, but
Hmm.
still in the same path. I'm curious for you during your time doing your dissertation and just even the
Hmm.
program, was there anything that surprised you the most about your journey?
Mm. Let me think. I will say I felt pretty well prepared for the journey. I
Mhm.
think what surprised me, sorry, I assume you'll edit this. What's what
Yeah, you're so good.
surprised me? Um,
And if there's nothing that surprised you,
yeah.
I'd also love to hear more
Mhm.
about just the way that I know you mentioned your
Mhm.
jobs earlier, right? And kind of
Yeah.
navigating all of that, how that actually functioned for you, how you were able to
Mhm.
manage all of the things that you were doing.
Yeah. I think one thing that surprised me and also worked really well for me was that I think this program is really designed for folks who are good at and enjoy being self-led, independent learners. I really needed a program that allowed me to go at my own pace, to collect who I wanted to be on my committee and really I got to work with some of my former mentors on this
Mhm.
project, which was really special. Um, and for me, where I was, I needed to not have as many things that I had to show up for and had to be
Yeah.
at and to go at my own pace. Um, that being said, if there's not a lot of hand holding, or there wasn't for me, I
Hmm.
really had to direct myself, which was both a benefit and a trade-off for me because sometimes it's harder to motivate, especially when you're really busy. Um,
Yes.
yeah, but it
Yeah.
was but I loved, for me, it was really nice to be able to just spend my weekends in a space of
Mm,
learning. Um, and especially after a week of working, to
yeah.
feel like I was filling my learning cup on the weekends was
Mm.
really fun. And that I could do it from my couch in my pajamas also helped.
Yes, do it comfy.
Yes, do it
Yeah.
comfy.
Yeah.
No
Good.
hard pants on school days.
Yes, exactly.
Yes.
Yeah, and fill it in. It sounds like you were able to like make the time, but I'm also hearing there was like the level of like, okay, I've got to make the time for it, but that you were
Hmm.
able to, even with all the things on your plate, find the time to do that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. It's definitely doable, which is something that I didn't think that I would ever pursue a PhD once I
Mhm.
was on the track
Yeah.
career-wise because it just felt like too much.
Yeah.
I'm happy that I was able
How,
to.
oh, sorry, I interrupted you. What was the last
No,
thing you
it's
said?
okay. I just said I'm happy that I was able to.
Yeah, I'm glad you were able to make it all work. And
Hmm.
for you, after getting it, what has shifted for you professionally, or how has it impacted or changed your kind of career path having the PhD?
Hmm. I think first of all, it's allowed me to create this book, which I hope
Mhm.
one day will be out there in the world. Um, it's allowed me to seek out teaching at the master's level, which is something which is one of the reasons that I wanted to get a PhD was so that I would be able to do that. It's Since I've graduated, I've taken on more of a leadership role. I've joined this practice as clinical director, which has been really special for me. I was already a certified sex therapist prior to starting my
Okay.
PhD at MSTI, but since then I've become an AASECT certified sex therapy supervisor, which has been really impactful for me. It's one of my favorite things about this job is teaching and mentoring the next generation of
Mhm.
clinicians. And one of the ways that I've been teaching myself how to be a teacher is by taking classes with good teachers. So,
Mm,
one of the things that I loved at MSTI was even if, because I was already a certified sex therapist, even if the class was something that I'd technically been taught before or a
yeah.
concept that I felt like I had a good baseline understanding of, it was really fun to be able to see different teachers from across the world approach it in different ways. And I learned so much about being an educator, picking up, taking the things that served me, leaving what
Mhm.
doesn't. And I think that that's one of the wonderful things about continuing to be in school is I'm at a place in my career now where I'm learning how to teach, learning how to mentor. And there are certainly folks that I took classes with at MSTI that I've been striving to replicate or have been using as sort of mentors in this world since I finished.
Yeah. I love that it's not only just like the knowledge, right? And you came in with some of that, but also you were able
Mhm.
to take how do I teach and how do I kind of see how they're functioning and do this myself and look at all the teaching roles you're in now. Like that's so amazing. It sounds like it's opened so
Yeah.
many doors for you.
Yeah, one of the things I love about continuing education is seeing the different approaches that different clinicians take, even if they're using the same concepts. The things that I love about this field, I could take 10 classes on the same thing and still pick up, whoa, and still, that's how I feel, and
Yes, it's
still
so
pick up
exciting.
something new each time that I take it.
Yeah. Oh, okay. The last kind of thing I have for
Mm.
you is there anything about the MSTI experience that I didn't ask about that feels important to share?
Mm, I don't think so.
Okay.
I think we covered it. I
Yeah.
feel
We
good
got we
about
had
that.
ended with the fireworks, so
There's nothing better than fireworks. No,
exactly. Well,
I'm grateful for my time at MSCI, and I'm really excited to see how the program has grown and shifted and the community that's being built around it
yeah. Well,
since
thank you so much for your time. This is amazing talking to you.
it was great talking to you too, Beta. Thank you.